This episode may contain language or discussions that may be offensive or triggering. Refer to the episode summary for details. Welcome to She.Confidential. I'm Charlene Ketchum, and today I'm chatting with Miss Ryan Shi Ferrell, and she's known as Shy, so we'll be calling her Shy, but I love her first name, Ryan, because people who know me know that's like one of my favorite names. And she is with Ferrery Financial Solutions. And today we are going to be chatting about credit as one of those things that we all need. A lot of people don't know how to get it established, how to manage it, how to maintain it, how to repair it. If you do have some issues, they don't know what impacts your credit. And so we're going to give you a high level overview of those four kind of points. We'll also talk about, for parents, ways you can help your children establish credit. So we're going to give you a high level overview of all the major things related to credit, and we'll also really highlight some of those services that Shy's business, Ferrery Financial Solutions, offers, just in case you want to reach out to her after you listen to our chat. So, first, thank you so much, Shy, for chatting with me today.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. What inspired you to start Ferrery Financial Services?
Oh my gosh. Having poor credit myself. So that was my thing. I was really young, and growing up, we didn't have those conversations in my household. Like, I have an amazing mother,
Mm-hmm.
but we just didn't have those conversations about finances and credits and things like that. So at a very young age, like as soon as I turned 18, I was like, "Cool, I can get a credit card," and I didn't even apply for it. It's like the companies like kept track of when I turned 18 as well, because here it was, Capital One sent me a credit card. I'm 18 in high school, don't even have a job, but you want to give me free money, I'm gonna take
Hello.
it. And so as I before I even understood what credit was, I ruined it, and I didn't realize how important it
Mm-hmm.
was until I got into my mid 20s and needed it, but I'd already established such a poor track record in the past. So I went through, I signed up with a big name company. I'm not going to call them, but we've seen the commercials. um, and it was like I was paying them this money every month, and nothing was happening. Like, I felt like I was like 3 4 months, and I know I didn't get back credit overnight, but I was like, something should be progressing here within 3 4 months. Nothing's changed. So then I started doing research myself, joining Facebook groups, reading articles and things like that. And I started working on things on my end that I could do to improve it. And then I realized, I was like, I called to cancel the service, and they go, "Well, you've gotten this removed, you've gotten this removed." I was like, "Yeah, I did that. Like, this is nothing that I paid you guys for."
Wow.
So I was like, I actually did this. So I decided, I was like, you know what? Like, there has to be a better way. Like, there has to be a better way. And I was like, the same way that I took the time to, mess it up, I'm going to take the time to learn and do what I need to do to repair it. And in doing so, just having conversations with my friends. I actually, when the knowledge that I learned, I shared with my friend and was able to help her get approved for a home about 2 years ago. And in talking with my mom, she said, "You may as well go ahead and do it full time. You've been doing it. Everybody calls you, they ask you
Mm-hmm.
for questions. You might as well go ahead and do it." And I was kind of going back and forth, and then one day, you know, went to go buy a car, had poor. I was like, you know what? I am tired of walking into a dealership with what I have in mind and leaving out with what they tell me I can have, but I still have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was at that point in time I said, I know if I'm going through it, somebody else is going through it. So I've made mistakes so that I can go ahead and try to help somebody get out of those same mistakes or prevent them from even making them.
I love that. And especially just what you're doing is helping with wealth building, because you said that you were able to help your friend purchase a home. And that's not going to happen if your credit is not where it needs to be. And that's a key component of wealth generation. And so a lot of people dismiss when we start talking about, the service credit services and everything. This is essential if we are going to help
Mm-hmm.
people be able to change some cycles and break some cycles, change the trajectory of their life. So this is, I mean, this is super important. And like you said, like these companies can be predatory, because I was the same thing for me when I was 18. I got all the offers, and then you go to the stores, and no knock to the, employees, because I know they have to do it, because I used to work in retail too.
Mhm.
But they're like, oh, do you want to save 5% today by signing up for this card? So I had a learners. Back then we had learners. I had a learner's card. I had a limited card. I had Victoria's Secret card. I had them for everywhere because I wanted to save that, that 5% and get these cards.
Mhm.
And then you end up with these balances because, like you're a kid and you don't have the money to support this, and you're not even thinking about the importance of paying your balances completely, not just the minimum,
Mhm.
all those things. We can take you down real quick if that's not something you've been educated about.
Right, absolutely. It's one of those things. It's like I had to learn the hard way. Like one late payment is detrimental. Like you know, you don't
Hmm.
realize it, but it's like I started here with no credit, and then I opened this account, and then it shot me up here, and then whoa, I can't. My minimum wage job, because at the time I worked like Burger King. I was making $6.50 an hour.
Hmm.
I don't have enough money to pay this bill, so I'll let it go till next month. Well, now just as quickly as I gained that credit, I've damaged that credit.
Yeah. And so let's walk through this journey of have establishing credit, how we can tear it down or how we can maintain it, grow it, so that we can use it, so that we can do what your friend did, be able to buy the homes that we want, be able to go to the car dealership and purchase the car that you want. Um, a lot of people don't necessarily know what a credit score is based on, and I've seen different kind
Hmm.
of breakdowns, and one of the most common ones that I've seen for the FICO score or the credit score is that 35% of it is our debt repayment history, and then maybe 30% is the debt that's owed, and 10% is new debt, and 15% is how long you've been in debt. 10% is 10 types of debt. And so when we think about those percentages and how we get there, because when you start off, when we're 18, we have no credit. And no credit is almost as
Hmm.
bad as bad credit. Because yeah, they
Absolutely.
don't know what you can do. So how do we start off by establishing credit?
Yeah, so absolutely. So as let's say as a young adult, starting off, you're over the age of 18 and you're wanting to set up credit for the first time. One of my go-to things that I recommend, even to my current clients, is a company called Self. You may have seen commercials for it. It was formerly called Self
Mm-hmm.
Lender, but it now goes as Self. It is one of my most favorite tools to use because it gives you a 3-in-1. And with that, you get a secured installment account. So basically, you're going to sign up for their services, and it's very minimal to sign up. It's like $9. You spend more than that at McDonald's on lunch. So, you spend $9 for
Mm-hmm.
the first month. That gets your account established. It's literally reporting to your credit report within 2 weeks or so.
Okay.
And it will report for whatever the amount of the installment plan that you pick. For example, I think the smallest tier is a $500 plan. So let's say you pick $500, excuse me, you choose $500, you go ahead and it'll report that you have a $500 installment loan. And then what you're going to do is it's best to have it on auto pay. You can
Mm-hmm.
make manual payments, but try to set it to auto pay, out of sight, out of mind,
Mm-hmm.
and let it auto draft these payments. And what it will do, and they're very small payments. I think they're like $25 a month for 24 months. And what it'll do is it'll report positively that you're making an on-time payment towards this loan. But also, what you're doing is what it's actually done is created a certificate deposit account. You're saving money, and you're going to accrue interest on whatever money you save. What's going to happen is at the end of your loan term, they're going to refund that money back to you plus any accrued interest. So you've saved money.
Mm-hmm.
You basically got a jump start on your emergency fund. You have secured a positive report and trade line. The great thing is about it is that it's no contract. So at any point in time, should you elect that this is no longer for you, you need to pull out, you can cancel it. And one of my favorite things about it is, as we touched based on 10% of your credit profile is your type of credit, or maybe referred to as credit
Mm-hmm.
mix. Self has a really great program where they, after 3 months of on-time payments on your installment loan, you're then eligible for their secured credit card. and you hear secure credit card, you get scared and think it's a credit inquiry. Great thing. There's no inquiry. You're automatically eligible for it because you've proven to self that I'm a trustworthy person. I can accrue that and be responsible and pay it back. So you can trust me with opening a secondary account. So now you can take money that you've already been paying into your savings account, transfer it to what would be your secured credit card. And so now you have two pieces of information reporting just off of $9 getting you started.
Wow. Okay, and you can start that at 18.
You can start that at 18, and I love it. Like, you're getting a savings
Okay.
account, you're getting an installment loan reported, and you're getting a secured credit card. Like, you're literally setting yourself up with three major things with just one time $9 installment and making those on time payments.
Wow, that is amazing. I did not know about this company. And so for people in the audience who are listening, what is the name of the company again?
It's called Self.
Okay.
And what's really great is actually if you visit my website at ferreryfinancialsolutions.com, there's actually a tab called Credit Builders. You'll be able to scroll through, and there's a link to each one of these, and there's a listing of what the benefits are for each program. Anything that's listed on our site, again, we use these for our clients as well. There's no credit inquiry. So although you're gaining these new trade lines to grow your credit, you're not suffering at a credit inquiry just to get it done.
I love that. And I will have the link to your website in the description box for the YouTube and the podcast and on the website. So people will be able to find you and y'all will be able to access all that information. That is wonderful because I did not know that. And so what do we
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
for people who want to try to start building their child's credit when they're under the age of 18? Are there things they can do for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the biggest things I would say is, like, I'm an advocate. You may have seen the commercials for like Go Henry or other little, or like I bank with Chase, for
Mhm.
example. And if your child is the age of 6 or older, you can open a children's account with Chase. What that does is that allows you to, let's say, to get your child into the mindset of real world expectations. Instead of giving them cash for their weekly allowance, you can set up little tasks, and as they complete those tasks, you transfer the money from your account to their direct account. You have oversight over their, debits, credits, and so on. Well, what you're doing is you're teaching them to earn their wages. And then what you then do is that whenever they want to purchase something, or like, let's say, like my son, he's 4.
Mhm.
He loves like Roblox. If you're a parent, you've heard of it.
Okay.
So Roblox, or these little how they want like the little coins for like Minecraft and things like that. Well, now you have your own money. You use your card and you pay for these things, but you have to also keep inside. Know how much you have, know what you have available to spend, know if you want to do something later on, when is the next time that you're going to get your allowance?
Mhm.
Are you setting yourself up so that you're going to have enough money left over for an after school treat for the next week? Just things like that, just kind of putting them in that
Yeah.
mindset. And as they get older, like, and I have a list of this as well, but as they get older, about some companies, about as low as 15, 16, you can actually add them onto your own credit account, credit cards, as an authorized user. And if you add them on as an authorized user, you can choose to or choose not to give them the card to, gain that
Mhm.
financial stability. But what it does is that they basically piggyback off of your credit. So your on-time payment history, your credit limits, and things like that, your child now has access to. Now, the same way that benefits them, that can also not benefit them if
Mhm.
you make late payments and things like that. So that's something to keep in
Yeah.
mind. But if you do those two things, just teaching them money management very early on so that they are cognitive of, I need to know how to manage my finances, and then also giving them access to piggyback off of your credit line. By the time that they're 18, I guarantee you they can pretty much walk into Mercedes right now, at that
Yeah.
point, and leave out of the car with the car off the showroom, no money down, and still have payments equivalent, if not better, as someone who had poor credit and had a 2000 Kia Soul.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. That's amazing. Like that's amazing. Yeah, I didn't
Hmm.
know that you could do any of these things. And so that's why conversations like this are so important because it's not that like, people always I know we talk a lot about what we didn't learn in school. And and that's true. A lot of this is not taught in school, but at the same time, we can start having these conversations outside of school and telling each other because it's never too late. It's never too late. Just because we didn't know this at 16, 18, or when we first became parents, we our kids and the young people around us can get the benefit of this knowledge because like you just said, that's a game changer. If your parent can
Mm-hmm.
start teaching you these money management skills at 6, and then you can start establishing credit in some way as a teenager, like the options that you have as an adult to go purchase a vehicle, to purchase a home, to start a business is huge. It goes back to that wealth generation. So this is, I mean, this is huge.
Absolutely. And another one, just to piggyback off of that, if you are, like, for example, my cell phone carrier, I use Verizon. And if you use Verizon, they're pretty expensive. But they actually came out with a great product that I've been reviewing. They actually have it's $5.99 a month. Um, but it basically allows you to give your child the same idea. You get your child a Verizon
Hmm.
card and you can transfer money to it and things like that. So there's so many great avenues out there. We just have to have access to the information.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's awesome.
Hmm.
All right. And so all that information is on your website. So people just go to, and can you spell out the name for your website and everything for people who are listening and getting excited and they want to go there now?
Yeah, absolutely. So the website is Ferrery Financial Solutions. So that's F as in Frank, ERRERY, and then Financial Solutions
Yeah.
all together.
Perfect. And I called it services earlier. So thank you for correcting that.
That's okay. No problem.
So once we've got our credit established, what are the key considerations for maintaining it?
So one of the biggest things that I would say is do not take on more credit than you can handle. And by that I mean, just because you're approved for it doesn't necessarily mean you need it. Um, you know, Borrow what you can pay back. So if you have a credit card and you have a $10,000 limit, that's a pretty substantial limit.
Mhm.
And it's good to have a good mixture of trade lines, so about 3 to 5 different types of accounts. But the thing is, don't borrow more than what you have, because what's going to happen is you're setting yourself up to, or especially if you're in a cycle of, and I'm speaking from experience,
Mhm.
if you're in a cycle of living paycheck to paycheck, because
Mhm.
that one short paycheck,
Mhm.
that one time you're sick, like, we've been out of work here from being sick.
Mhm.
That one late payment can knock you back months of all the hard work that you've
Mhm.
done. So that's the biggest thing, to you gain it, establish it, but don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Another thing is, if you can and you're in a position to, because not everybody is, but if you can, set it to auto pay and let it, be out of sight, out of mind. I encourage to have, separate bank accounts, one for, your everyday purchases with your debit credit card, and then one that you're going to have for your auto pay transactions, so that you know that just because I got gas today, oh, now my credit card payment's not going to clear, or it's going to bounce back to me. So that's one of the biggest things, is just making sure that you're on top of it, making sure that if you are not comfortable with auto pay, making sure that you are just carving out time at least once a week to go over all your bills, keeping on track with your paydays. Like, I'm an iPhone person, I live by my phone. I have alerts for literally everything, even to remind me to drink water. Like, you didn't get 8 ounces in this last hour, drink some water. So the same thing with your bills. If you can't do auto pay, put your reminder on your phone, or sticky notes wherever you're going to see it, on the refresh. But just stay on top of those dates. And it's better to pay before the statement due date than the actual bill due date, because that way you can reduce the utilization.
Excellent. Thank you. And those, I love that you are emphasizing build these things into our daily rituals and create habits
Mm.
because that's real money management is all about habits.
Yeah,
Yeah, largely. It's
absolutely.
largely about our habits and just in our mindsets.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, a big thing is that people don't realize is that even to get a bank account, sometimes your credit is checked.
Yeah.
So, like, those things come in, like,
Mhm.
I understand life happens. Hey, I've had to have the coverage myself, but overdraft protection,
Mhm.
it's not where people say hear overdraft protection and think, oh, I can go into the negatives. No, that's a line of credit that your bank will extend to you
Mhm.
in the event that you are in the negative, and you don't have to incur these additional fees. So you're saving yourself money in the long run just by having good credit.
Yeah. And I didn't realize until recently that your credit could prevent you from getting a bank account. But it impacts so many
Mhm.
things in so many places, like check for credit. Just, the new iPhone is coming out, which I'm not getting because I think I still have an 8, but it still works. So I'm getting a new one. But um,
There you
I,
it is
I
well.
was, yeah, I'm pretty sure
No
I have an
shade.
8. I'm like, this still works. Because
Mhm.
I have issues with like the new iPhone. Like I like the home button. And I know they don't have the home button on there. So I'm not anxious and to switch over, and there I have my things that I
That's
will
valid.
spend money on, but gadgety things aren't those things. So
Mhm.
I can wait, but I keep getting emails about it, and I'm with AT&T, and so AT&T is emailed, and just everybody's like, the new iPhone is coming out. Get ready, sign up. I think you have to pre-order it and everything. But
Mhm.
for cell phones, they do credit checks when you're trying
Mhm.
to get those things, especially if you're doing like a payment plan or something. So your credit comes into for some jobs, like your credit matters. And I don't think, like, as a young person, I didn't know that. And I still
Mhm.
didn't know, even as an adult. Like, I just found out like a couple of years ago that having credit issues can impact people being able to open up bank accounts. And that was when I was getting educated about why so many people are unbanked, why they don't have bank accounts, and that's
Mhm.
one of those reasons is a credit issue. So I mean,
It's part of it.
it's important. It's important.
It is very important. I am, as you, and you may not know based on my business, but I'm actually a licensed adjuster.
Mm.
So I work in insurance.
Okay.
My everyday 9 to 5. I'm
Look
an
at
insurance
you,
adjuster.
your hustles.
Believe it or not,
Didn't go
yes,
in. Go
I
girl. Go
am. But
girl.
so I'm on the back end. I'm who you get to once you've already been in the accident. But
Mhm.
so many times I've had customers call back in because they want to have they just want to know, well, why is my insurance so high? I just have liability. I just have this '98 Honda Civic Coupe. It is, believe it or not, other than your driving record. But guess what? Your credit is also considered. It's your clue report. That is all a part of your insurance. Like when they ask you your education level, when they ask you, for your social security for
Mhm.
the best rates, it is all to determine your financial
Yeah.
responsibility. So you wonder why you're paying so high on things? It's literally because of credit.
Yeah, that's another one. I had forgotten about that too. Yeah, that's another one.
Hmm.
It just
I hear it all the time. Let me tell you, I am the most cautious driver now because
it's yeah, it impacts everything. But like you said, life sometimes happens. People, especially over the
Mhm,
last year, a lot of people, had their employment situations change and it was unexpected, or they've incurred a lot of medical bills or whatever the case may be. And so sometimes things
mhm.
happen that adversely impact your credit. And so what does somebody do when they have when they first let's when you know that you're about to have issues with paying your bills? What can people do
Mhm.
to try to minimize the damage to their credit?
So, one or two things. Either answer the phone when the company's calling you, or you call that company. um, and I can't stress
Yeah.
that enough. We think it's kind of like that noise in the car. If we don't turn the radio up loud enough, we don't hear it.
Yeah.
It's not there. It's definitely there. So, what I encourage is that give the creditors a call. Oftentimes, they have things that are in place to implement and help you out. Even especially with your auto loans, you can easily do a deferment, and doing that deferment saves you from not having to make the payment that month. But it also saves you a late payment, which could drop you. One late payment can drop you, depending on where you are in your score rating, as much as 100 points. The higher your score are, the more points you're subject to lose, just because you have that one late payment. So if you're proactive about it, there's things
Mhm.
that can definitely help you.
Yeah. Yeah. And so,
Mhm.
what if people aren't proactive about it and it just all hits the fan, and things go to collections and all the defaults on things? What options do people have for repairing their credit at that point?
Okay, so good question. The great thing is before it gets to collections, you still have a period where you can make it up. Depending on the type of credit, there's anywhere between 30 to 90 days. Typically, after about 90 days or so is when it's mostly forwarded to collections. It's because at that point, the creditors realize, okay, you made no attempt to try to satisfy this debt or this balance. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and seek alternate methods to, get a payment remitted. Um, if you get to that point, I mean, again, life happens. I've been there. I've literally just ignored a bill saying if I ignored it long enough, it'll go away.
Yeah.
But the sad thing is that it won't.
No.
It won't. It'll actually hurt you more because now you have the original creditor reporting plus the debt collector that they've sold it to. So now you're
Mm.
basically getting hit with a double whammy for one account where it could have been prevented, where you could have, gone ahead and worked out an arrangement. Even if the account got closed, it still would have been paid in full. So
Yeah.
that would, and you would have had to take into consideration that positive payment history up until the point where you couldn't. So there's things that can definitely be done. It's just a matter of, are you willing to, you know I guess sometimes put pride aside and speak to
Hmm.
someone, you know because I've worked in customer service as well, and you get a lot more, like they say, you get a lot more flies with
Yes.
honey than with other stuff. So you call, you get the right person, and if you feel as though the person that you're speaking with is not knowledgeable, don't be afraid to ask for somebody else. you know read your terms and conditions. I'm an advocate. I have a group actually on Facebook called Journey to Greater, and the link is actually accessible through my webpage as well. But however, in this group, I share tips and tricks with my consumers or with my community. And one of my biggest things is I tell them is that you can come back from anything. It's just a matter of if you want to put in the work
Yeah.
for it. So it's either prevent it while you can, and if you can't prevent it, do the work to go ahead and start repairing it. But the thing is, it's only going to work if you work.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that
Mhm.
there's a lot of empowerment in being proactive. Yes.
Absolutely.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the services that you provide through your company?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my company was designed with one goal in mind. Our slogan is "Be Greater." It is simply designed to help you be greater, to be the best version of yourself. So, with that, my goal is to, be a one-stop financial hub for consumers, so that you know your credit is. You need your credit repaired. We have you. You need credit builders. Let's say you don't have any credit. You have credit. You need credit builders. We got you. We can help you with that. Sometimes you need help establishing business credit. This is things that we can assist you with. Then there's also on the back end, if you need, later on you've gone through the year, you need tax preparation assistance. We offer, well, we will be offering soon, assistance with life insurance, for for your family, whole life, term life, burial, and these are things that we don't take into consideration because guess what? A GoFundMe is not the way to go, and I hate to see it. I see it so
Yeah.
much. I hate to see it. Um, Things like that, and believe it or not, even speaking with final expenses, your credit comes to play in there because sometimes you have to finance the service. But if
Hmm.
you have poor credit, then you have to resort to those alternate methods. So
Hmm.
everything, it all ties right back into each other. And so these services are available to you from my company.
Wonderful. And one of the important things for a lot of people who have credit is they don't necessarily even know what's on their credit. And I remember years
Hmm.
ago, back before we could get free credit reports. And now, for those who don't know, you can get a free credit report from annualcreditreports.com. Is that right?
Hmm.
And there
Yes.
are some fake ones out there. So y'all make sure when you look that you're on the actual annualcreditreports.com, because it's free to get your one credit report every 12 months from the three credit bureaus. And so you can do your own free
Hmm.
credit monitoring by alternating, like every 4 months, get another credit report from one of the three. And so that's what I've started to
Hmm.
do. Now there's charges if you want your score and for them to monitor your credit and everything, but outside of that, it's free. But years ago, I didn't, before they had the free annual credit reports and before I knew you should check it, I just so happened to check my credit, or no, I think I bought something and I was able to get it, but there were, get, when you get your credit run, you can actually see your credit report. I think they showed it to me or something like that. It's probably for my car years
Hmm.
ago. But I saw that I actually had something on there that I had paid off. Like I used to order all those CDs and stuff like from Columbia House
I remember those.
way back in the day
Right, one
and
penny.
everything. So this is how long ago that this I got this credit report. But there was something on there for me owing for that. And I had paid that. And then there was like a doctor's bill. And I had paid both of those things. And I've always been really big on keeping records. And so that's something else I'll add.
Mhm.
When you pay bills, keep those records for a period of time because
Absolutely.
you otherwise have no documentation that you paid it. And so those both showed up on my credit report as delinquent accounts. And I was like, I paid both of these things, but I never knew it because I hadn't looked at my credit report. I didn't think there was a reason for me to need to see it as long as I could get whatever I applied for. I was like,
Mhm.
why do I need to look at it? So I learned two things. You need to be looking at your credit report, and especially these days, because identity theft is real. And that'll be one of your
Very.
cues if you see some things. And then sometimes things just get reported incorrectly. And
Mhm.
you can go in there and you can or chat, what is it, challenge or contest? I can't remember the word.
Dispute, yes.
Dispute. You can dispute them
Mhm.
and write letters and things. But I had that documentation. I was able to get both of those removed because I had documentation that I had paid those accounts. So keep your documentation.
Mm,
Check your credit report
absolutely.
because everything on there is not necessarily accurate.
That is absolutely correct. And I will tell you, my mom she's not a victim of identity theft, but where we're from, there was someone else who's literally their first and last name was exactly the
Mm,
same. The only difference was the middle initial. Well, my mom didn't use her middle initial, neither did the other person. So here it is years later, we go, for example, we were car shopping
mhm,
recently. Um, they asked her about an auto loan, and we were like, "That's not hers. Where'd that come from?" And it's because they're so identical, or sometimes your social is the exact same, but the last two numbers are transposed,
mhm,
and maybe the dealership, fat fingered it or
mhm.
something. Something as simple as that can literally make or break
Yeah,
whether or not you're eligible, for financing and things like that. So it's good to know what's reporting and is the information that's reporting accurate, because by law, the credit bureaus have to report accurate information.
yeah, absolutely. Well, is there anything else that you want people to know about credit establishment or repair before we wrap up?
I would just say this right here. A lot of people, credit repair gets the name of being scam, being kind of scandalous or not as thorough, but it definitely is. It's one of those things. Is You can fix your credit yourself. You absolutely can. I know you can because I've done it before,
Mhm.
getting into my business. But I would say whether you do it yourself, rather reach out and solicit the help of someone else, definitely stay on top of it. It's one of those things. And Credit Karma is not a real credit monitoring. Just so you know, it's really good to keep up with as far as the accounts itself, but the scoring is totally different. So that's not accurate information. Please do not go try to purchase something and get embarrassed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of my biggest things is just make sure you check your reports regularly to know what's reporting. Also making sure you keep on top of those on time payments, and um, feel free again to visit my website and send me an email for any questions or concerns that you may have. I'd be more than happy to reach out and speak to each and every one of you, individually.
Perfect. Yeah.
And I also wanted to mention, just from speaking with you here on today. Typically, if you do decide to get our services, we do charge an consultation fee. However, we will go ahead and waive that if you use the coupon code She.Confidential.
Wonderful. Thank you. That is awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So, if people want to follow you on social media, I know that you're on Instagram and Facebook. What are your social media handles?
Absolutely. So it's again all together Ferrery Financial Solutions, and that's F is in Frank, Errery Financial Solutions all together. You'll know it's me because everything is rose gold on the page.
Yes. Beautifully designed page. Yes. Yeah. Your
Thank
page is
you.
beautiful. Website's beautiful. And all of the social media handles, website links will be in the description box, you all, as always. So thank you so much for all you're doing. It's just, I know people do say like, oh, credit repair, it's a scam, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? We pay for a lot of things we can do on our own. I can put weave in
Mm-hmm.
my hair, but I don't do it myself. I pay somebody else to do it. We can do our own
Right.
makeup. Pay somebody else to do that. It's,
I literally just told
it's
someone
just, it's
that.
more efficient, and it's also, if just get the guidance and make sure you're staying on top of it.
Mhm.
Whether or not you choose to invest in a professional service to do it for you, that's a personal
Mhm.
choice, but stay on top of them. And even if you don't hire someone to handle the entire process, you can at least consult with them to get their professional guidance on where you start. Because this is bigger than
Absolutely.
just the number that's reported. Because as you've pointed out consistently, like that number impacts everything in your
Mhm.
life.
It tells strangers basically how trustworthy you are. That's literally what it boils
Yeah.
down to. Is if you're a trustworthy
Yeah.
person. But the good thing is that you don't have to, be in doubt. You don't have to figure it out on your own because guess what? We offer, products for the DIYer as well. So we do have an ebook available where you can, get a kit, get the letters that's necessary. There's also a separate ebook that has 101 tips to go ahead and boost your credit score.
Yeah. Excellent. You have it all covered. Yes. I love it. I
Yes,
love
ma'am.
it. I love it. Yes.
I made the mistake so that you don't have to.
And we will close on that one. Thank you so much, everybody. I have been chatting with Miss Shy with Ferry Financial Solutions. All the information will be in the description box and on the SheConfidential.com website. I'm Charlene Ketchum. Until next time.